One at a time or all together?
Just
all together, just for fun, and shout out whatever random phrase you want. But really, it's a clap, please.
Okay.
What he really wants is one clean clap, so he
One
can
clean.
like that. Anyway,
Cool.
how am I, bros?
As a drum. I look forward to the Japanese.
Oh, them as well. They're insane.
Yeah.
I really want to be.
Japanese is a bit more expensive. Chinese, you can get a pair, like silver pants for like £8.
Oh.
You have to buy the biggest thing they've got, and then that will just about fit most
Real snug.
people of
Not
this
all
kind
people.
of size.
Yeah.
He said.
Have you ever done all leopard print, head to toe?
Well, I would in the right environment, it's true. I am one who does love the monocolour look though, so I've often done all white, all red, all blue, or purple, or
Including
pink.
shoes?
Including shoes and top hats.
Whoa. And top hat? Okay, welcome everybody to the first podcast vlog of Talentbank. We're here at Tile Yard. I'm your host, Jane Garcia Rodriguez, and we're here with Tony Moore and Chloe Ettinger. Anyway, so thank you for coming, guys, today. Just to give everyone out there who's watching a little background about Talentbank, we are a new company, music company. We promote, we're live agents, we're a safe haven for the unsigned artist, and we believe that live is the way forward. So speaking of live and kind of experiences and stuff, Tony, I know you're almost a hype man for Talentbank. Would you say what's your role? What's your role with Talentbank?
Oh, well, I think I had two roles that run in parallel.
Okay.
Although one may accelerate ahead of the other at any given time. So first of all, I'm a friend of Pablo and Ray, the founders, and Laura, and I've watched them individually get involved with all kinds of artists, helping to raise the profile of original artists by giving them interesting gigs, whether it's house concerts or whether it's as part of a more corporate environment, but where there's a great audience. And I'm really thrilled at the way Talentbank has come together. These three energies of people who are doing something similar but slightly different have joined forces to create one unity of thought and deed to help original music. Now, and that's the key to this. So there's hundreds of agencies where if you want a covers band to come and do tribute shows or to do background music, that's easy to find. But if you want entertainment that's bespoke, that's curated, that is original, it's very hard to know where you would go for that. So that's kind of the heart of Talentbank, and that's something through my experience of being the promoter of the Kashmir Club, which I launched quite a few years ago, and then the Bedford for the last 15 years, is a similar ideal, right? How do we create a stage that's fit for purpose, where people come to listen, to discover. And the great thing with Talentbank is how to reward original material. So if you're famous, it's really easy to get money because people will buy a ticket, you get some sponsorship. But if you are as good as anyone who's successful, you're just not well known yet, it's very hard to generate income for your original performance. So that's where Talentbank come in.
So for original performances, income and things like that, I know Chloe, you're the events lady and organising all of those kind of things. What's your role in helping artists in that way?
So I just joined, I think a week ago now. So it's my first week. Yeah, exactly. And so I joined as the new events manager, and I help Ray curate all the live gigs that we do in all sorts of venues. So it could be restaurants, it could be pubs, it could be actual music venues, the weirdest warehouses, really anywhere. And it's all about getting these unsigned artists, new audiences. They get paid and they play their original music. So we just help them get new audiences, and it's amazing, really amazing. I'm so lucky, by the way, to know these people and to work in such an amazing team.
Cool.
Yeah, I think it's an exciting environment because it's slightly moving into uncharted territory, but doing it with a really good heart and a really good ethic. And the other part of the parallel is that I support and encourage and shout loudly about how brilliant it is because I understand. But on the other hand, I'm also an artist, so I'm a Talentbank artist. So I'm benefiting from working with inside Talentbank for my creative side as well. So I love to still write and record and perform all the time, and I think that's one of the interesting elements for me, is that I can jump to either side of the business model, and either use my experiences or my knowledge to help add value to events that might need what I can do to help. But on the other side, I can benefit from all this great energy they're putting into supporting new artists.
So you would say that Talentbank gives you the creative freedom to kind of do what you want. That maybe have you found that anywhere else? Or but I mean,
I don't think it's the creative freedom. I think it's that they are able to create environments where your creative freedom can both benefit from reaching a wider audience and also can be rewarded financially, so that instead of artists always having to struggle to find ways to add to their income, actually doing their own music with Talentbank is a way that can add value to their income, both directly and indirectly, building future audiences.
So we partner with lots of different venues and all companies, or whoever comes to us who wants and who knows that we can we have the best live independent artists, and they know that we deliver. And then we're starting to get a really good track record, and it's really amazing to see people come to us asking for what you want artists.
Because all artists are approved by Talentbank,
Yes,
so they're vetted. So you know,
you have to be invited, haven't you?
Yes, you have to be invited, and one of us and the team, all of us, will have seen all of the artists play live, because it is all about live music. So we've listened to all of them, and it's.
As an artist, I know you were talking about kind of creates the right space, but from your previous experiences, you've been in the industry a long time. What's your kind of thought process, or maybe kind of with Talentbank, why are you working with them now in this particular way compared to what you've done before? I mean, you could go and do your own thing. Why would you want to associate with Talentbank?
Well, the thing with Talentbank is it's non-exclusive, right? So Talentbank creates an avenue of opportunity for everyone that's involved with it. But that avenue doesn't restrict you from doing other things around it as well. So I think all artists that are creative will want to make the most of every opportunity they can. So the great thing with Talentbank is it's not like once you're with Talentbank you can't do anything else. You have to do Talentbank things. Actually, what Talentbank is saying, artists, you whatever you're doing, we want to add value to that. We want to give you another platform, and maybe to do things that other outlets for your music are unable to do for you, which is creating these bespoke events, right? So very often Talentbank is going to be putting music and artists into environments that never had original music or even had music before. Thinking about clever ways of positioning original music.
Because I know at Liscargo a couple of weeks ago, there's a musical safari, which has never been done before. Well, I certainly haven't been to a musical safari where there are 3 acts and then you all kind of move around after 20 minutes to another room. It's a completely different setting, completely different vibe. It's a bespoke setting, kind of almost for the artists, and it brings people in to appreciate that music. So in terms of kind of what you do and curating events, how will you make it kind of suit the artist at the right time with the right audience?
So for example, Liscargo, so it's 3 rooms with completely different atmosphere, different decor, but amazingly beautiful. And we have 30 people in each room, and after 20 minutes they switch around. So even to organise that is quite fun, and artists always love to play their own music in various sorts of environment, and it's always fun for them to play in random places. So like a restaurant, Liscargo is amazing, and it's a really famous venue. But also, for example, the Jazz Cafe, the Hard Rock Cafe.
Joe Slater performed there as well.
Yesterday. I mean, it's really it's amazing.
How do you keep up?
I don't know. I mean, how does Bray keep up? I don't even know.
Honestly.
We went to an event yesterday in a pub to watch some artists play, and it's just amazing to just go see artists play every night if we can.
Got to do what you got to do. But in terms of artists, I mean, how is it? I know you were there, Liscargo, excuse my pronunciation, very English, Liscargo, and you spoke, and but in terms of artists that were playing, did you hear any feedback of how they, did they like the venue, did they like the setup because it's something different, or did you have any feedback on that?
I mean, it's a venue that we're definitely going to be, artists are definitely going to be playing in a lot more, so stay tuned.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, the feedback is always amazing, and looking forward to doing a lot more at Liscagel really soon.
I enjoyed the whole concept of the musical safari. I think that's a very good idea, right? Because you're bringing 90 or so people into a restaurant or an environment on, I think, 3 levels, isn't it? That actually many people have probably never even been to, so they don't know the layout very well. And it's a weird little layout. It goes through a little layout. You go down a corridor and suddenly you end up in a venue. You had no idea it was at the end of that corridor.
Yeah.
And the idea of having 3 acts doing short sets, 20-minute sets, for audiences means that everybody gets to experience something completely different. So I can see this kind of look of fun on people's faces as they're coming up the stairs going, where are we going next? And I think that concept of it's kind of like a festival in one day, but it's very organised. So instead of just people wandering under their own steam, everything's quite organised. It's like, okay guys, that bit's finished now, you're going to go over there. And it's curated, right? It's done in a way that people don't have to think about anything, they just enjoy the experience.
Very well. It's like being funneled through a fun tunnel of sound.
A fun tunnel,
For tunnels. Yeah. Well, not only for artists, but it's great for people that are coming along to view the music, and that's why they're approved, and that's why people are booking them. So it's great news for that. I wanted to pick your brains though, kind of like the future for independent artists. I know that social media and things like that are coming along, and the future is live. Maybe other, for example, Enemy, they're doing their last print, I think, in the near future. So things are dying out. So where would you say Talentbank fits into the future of independent music?
Well, I think the one thing that never changes, no matter the technology, no matter the delivery mechanisms, the one thing that never changes is that people love talent. And talent, when experienced, is a unique thing for audiences, for all of us, right? I'm a talent junkie. I love people who are brilliant at what they do. Actually, whatever they do, but certainly in music. So whenever I see somebody that's just brilliant at what they do, it changes my world, and I want to be involved. I want to help. I want to, even if it's just go and follow their journey. And I think what Talentbank are doing, and how they've laid out their plan, is very clever, right? It's working with invited artists that they believe are of a great level, and within everything there will always be levels where some artists suddenly pop out and move on to the next level. But at the heart of all of it is talent and music and creativity, and that people always want that. So the fact that Talentbank are taking this into different environments is empowering artists to reach wider audiences. It's also empowering the industry to discover artists in a different way. So for many of the artists, it's really hard to get in front of people from radio stations, or people from publishing companies, or people from record labels, or agents that are doing bigger festivals and stages, right? And actually Talentbank does that for you, right? It's not only that they're creating interesting places, they're inviting interesting people into the audience to experience this, to help the artist's journey.
So kind of Talentbank has these independent artists, and in the audience maybe some key industry people in these venues that are going to hear their music and follow us on Talentbank and Instagram and all of these things on social media too. So would you say it's kind of a merge of new technology promoting Talentbank and then the old core of live and talent? Like how do you see it going forward?
Well, what's amazing about Talentbank is it's non-exclusive, as Tony said. So all we want to do is help promote unsigned artists and getting them more gigs, paid gigs. And I think we might be moving away from the traditional way of music, but then nowadays I come from like a generation where people get recognised from YouTube or from buskers, and for artists it's more and more ways of getting out there, showing their music to the world. The audience is always going to be there, and we're just helping create amazing experiences with the best live music. for independent artists. So it's just
Talentbank helps that reach literally in the moment, feeling the music, and then everywhere else. So I'm gonna plug the YouTube channel, Talentbank, talentbank.com. We also have news and blogs there, so people can just hop on, see if they like it. If they like it, they want to book it, can take things further. But it's there. It's a platform for people to have a peep at, see what's going on, and we've always got our finger on the pulse, haven't we?
Yeah, and we have all the events that are going on the website, and you can look at all the different artists per genre. We have all sorts of music, really, from singer-songwriters to funk bands to everything. So there's everything for everyone.
The Coffee Pot Drive.
Yeah.
To Genia, who's a classical pianist.
Yeah.
To more rock, and
yeah,
of course, Tony over here.
I'm not quite sure where I fit in there. Somewhere in there.
It's, there's a whole spectrum. There we are. But yeah, so we'll just.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the other key things is that because Talentbank is a filter, we've always, as the general public, the industry, all of us, we've always looked to filters. So when it was radio, there would be certain people like John Peel, for example, great filter. You trusted everything John. If you like John Peel,
Yeah.
you trusted everything that he would play because you go, if John likes it, it must be good. And I think this is a key thing with Talentbank, right? That if Talentbank are behind something, there's a filtering process that's got to that point that allows people to just open and accept and go, well, if it's Talentbank, must be good. Let's get involved, right?
Yeah.
And that's a really strong ethos to start with and to build, because it allows you to subliminally be able to help artists, because this isn't just about making money. So there's lots of artists that may not be suitable artists but could generate money in different ways, but Talentbank wants to work with the artists that they feel reflect their core values or are the kind of artists they want to work with. So
Yeah.
I think that filter is important.
And even if artists aren't right at the moment, there's still opportunity for Talentbank to manage some artists. It's in its infancy at the moment with only a couple of artists being managed, but it's definitely something that I know they want to expand on, and it's just another platform, isn't it, for especially younger musicians who maybe come from the shires and trying to get their foot in the door, especially big venues around London.
But they've already got a deal with the shows.
Okay, someone hits a microphone. No, we need more jokes. You did a brilliant one earlier. But yeah, so going back to experiences and things like that, I just wanted some little snippets from you, Tony. Some kind of best moments playing live.
Ooh, well,
Because I've been in some pretty big bands.
Yeah,
or...
do you know, yes. So when I was in Cutting Crew, in the 80s when I was very young, we would...
You're still young.
Yes.
Yeah.
We obviously were touring, supporting a massive hit single with I Just Died in Your Arms Tonight. We did some fantastic shows opening for Starship and the Bangles and all kinds of great people. But I do remember one very special moment. We went to Taiwan and played in Taipei just as martial law was being relaxed, and we were the first any artist, but certainly the first Western act to come and play for an audience that were allowed to dance and to stand up. And it's really hard to imagine you would have grown up in a place where you were not allowed to dance. Martial law was very strict about subduing culture, and so we played in this basketball stadium. It was about 50,000 people. I don't know, a lot. It was massive, right, in the round, and people went crazy for it. And there was a bit of a riot outside for people trying to get in that didn't have tickets, and it was a magical night because we felt part of a movement, right, and we felt this energy. But I'll never forget it because at the very end, when we came back for the encore, there was like this rubber matting across the stage, and at the back was all the smoke machines.
Okay.
And the smoke machines had generated some oil that when the smoke had just dissipated on the rubber mats. So now the rubber mats had at the back oil on them, which made them very slippery, but because we didn't know that. We come back for the encore and we're in the round and my keyboards are at the back, and I think there's all these people, I'll go and wave at them. Right? And I ran out to wave at them, my feet went straight out underneath me, and I hit my back and I just slid along on my back.
And just like...
Right, and it was the greatest gig that we'd done and the most embarrassing thing I'd ever done on the same night, but it was memorable. So
That's not the thing.
that was pretty amazing. And then just the other night, I was invited to be a special guest at Pheasantry in the King's Road. My friend Babs Savage had a night, sold out, and she invited me to come and play 3 songs in the middle of her set, which was very generous of her. And I did, and I had this moment where none of these people knew who I was, but I sat down at the piano, played 3 songs on the piano, and I just had the most incredible response. People, it was just completely connected, and as a performer, that's one of the things that you spend your life searching for, that moment where you are so connected with everyone that they are part of that music. And it was a really beautiful night, and it was I was at the end of it, I was blown away by the energy in the room and the support I'd had. So,
Knocked out.
yeah, so
Similar to your first experience, but that was
yes,
bad,
exactly.
yeah.
I tried to stay upright for this one.
So do you think the venue on that one had anything to do with it, or was it
It
just
partly
sort of
did. It was because it was a very listening space, right? So it was a grand piano, and there was, I don't know, it was sold out, so there was about 80, 85 people in there, and it was like this. It was pin drop silent, and everyone was, because they didn't know what to expect, and then as soon as I started, they got pulled in, and it was like I've surfed the energy.
So, yeah.
I wasn't distracted by anything. I was completely in the moment, and this is one of the hard things for all artists, is how to be in the moment, because when we're doing gigs, we're very often distracted by bad sound, people talking, noisy bars, someone screaming. I know the amp not working properly. There's loads of things to distract us.
Yeah.
But when you're in the moment, it's almost like magic happening.
Are you going to curate the magic with the venues? That's what we want to know.
Well, that's it.
Ride the wave.
What he just said right there is what obviously he was trying to do. So, but yeah, it sounded amazing. I'm not an artist myself.
Yeah. What's your background?
I mean,
I wanna
I've
know.
grown up with music in my house. I mean, my dad and my brother are both like jazz musicians. I myself was in a duo at school. So I've just grown up with music, and I did all the corporate stuff after uni. I was like, I'll try it out. I did quite a lot of marketing.
Yeah.
And then I've always loved music. I've always loved events and managing and organising events.
Yeah.
And I'm lucky enough to know the people in the team, so it's just an honour to...
The right person for the job. Growing up with it. There you are.
Yeah.
So you're tuned in, you've got your ear to the ground, new venues popping up?
Oh yeah, all the time.
Just knocking on people's doors like...
Yeah. Ray does the magic of... I mean, he knows everyone. It's Mr. London, so...
Mr. London.
Yeah.
Actually, he handed me his card once, so how I got involved is I met him at BBC Amplify through a friend, and he handed me his card. He's just kind of like bobbing along saying hi to everyone. I was like, who is this man? And he just like, you know how people do that? He kind of like shifted out his cards, and I was like, whoop, got one of those. And then I looked at it and I was like, oh, this is the kind of thing I want to be involved in. I took the day off work so I could go to BBC Amplify with my friend, and so it happened from there. And I got this card, I was sitting at home, and I thought, I'll cold email him. And I haven't read it since, but I wrote the kind of cringiest, weirdest email, and then he must have taken pity on me, and then we met at Talentbanq for a coffee, and then it all went on from there, and then blogging started, and then here we are. So, and also before that I was in some funk and soul bands, so I like a bit of the trombone though.
Yeah, trombone.
I know, yeah. Haven't played for a while, so but
yeah,
that's the old background. And the baritone horn. Oh. But yeah, I know, very weird. Just some smaller euphonium people are like, what is that? Euphonium without the fourth key.
Wow.
That's awesome.
But there we are. So
very few people would know about a euphonium without the fourth key. There's real specialist knowledge there. So euphonium without the fourth key.
Well, if anyone asks, that's what baritone is.
I know.
That's right. Basically, yeah. Yes. So it's fine. Mini tuba, there we are. I was really cool at school, as you can imagine. Really cool. With this massive case, just like this. But yeah, I guess Oh, they want more. Well, as I said, you can imagine me year 7 with all these music things behind me. But God.
There should be more music at schools. I went to a French school, and it was so strict, all about academics and everything. And I did music, but it was terrible. But that's where I got to start playing in a band, and yeah, I think it should be like compulsory for everyone.
Yeah.
I'm not sure about English schools, but that was my experience.
Yeah, I think the challenge with schools, I know we're going off piste a little bit here, but I think the challenge with schools is that there's a curriculum to follow, and it's very hard to give everybody within music what they want. So if you wish to have a classical career, there's probably quite a strong curriculum for you to work within.
Definitely.
But actually, if you don't want to do that, if you just want to be a singer-songwriter, it's a little harder to find your place within that, where you can get the encouragement or the inspiration to do that. So sometimes you have to be, just go off and do it on your own. And I think with you sending the letter to Ray, I think that this is exactly the Talentbank thing, right? It's Ray wants to work with people that want to work, that want to do things, that are excited about making stuff happen. So being proactive is the way forward, and that's exactly Ray's thing, right? He goes in bashing on doors, going, right, we're going to have live music in here, and we're going to give you the best show you've ever had. And people go, right, okay, fine. And then at the end of that, go, wow, that was really good, wasn't it?
And then,
but you need that energy, right? So Ray's right at the front driving through, but then he's very smart, right? Because he's pulling on board Chloe, who loves music, who's got a passion to do stuff, but is also very organised, because you can knock these doors down and introduce yourself to the world, but then you have to have a team that then deliver, right? And that's what's happening with Talentbank. There's all these people starting to join the Talentbank family who add such great value to all of the things that Ray and Pablo are creating, right?
Yeah.
And as the business grows, there's going to have to be more people, because that's the nature of success, right? The more successful become, the more the workload has to be shared. But that's a really exciting thing, isn't it? And already, from a standing start in January, Talentbank is doing far more than almost any other promoter.
Yeah. I mean, for example, just for promotion, I know on launch night we reached 6 million viewers.
Well,
just from social media, and that's huge for a company in its infancy.
Absolutely.
And especially for those people who deserve to get heard, who work so hard. It's the future.
I think the other challenge is that we talk about emerging music and the changing business and rewarding original artists. We are in an environment where small venues are under a lot of threat. We are losing venues.
Yeah.
Venues are struggling to stay alive because small venues are usually independent, and they are the other side of the coin to independent artists, is the independent venues. So Talentbank, I think, is also working hard to try and create shows to support small venues, as well as encouraging new venues and new enterprises to come together. And that's really key, because without it's a bit like learning to fly, right?
Yeah.
If everyone got rid of all the little small airfields around the country because the local residents didn't like the noise, no one would be able to train to be a pilot. We would run out of pilots. Same with small venues.
In the island,
right?
Stuck in the UK.
Exactly. If you want the next Coldplay, or you want the next Radiohead, or you want the next whoever, right? You need to have a place for people to learn their craft, gain an audience, build their experience, and develop their careers.
Couldn't say it better myself. So join Talentbank.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much for joining us for our first podcast. Thank you, Chloe.
Thank you
For joining. And find us on talentbank.com. Find news, blogs there, Talentbank on Instagram, and on YouTube, where you'll be watching this. Thank you.